In 1872 by stagekeeper John Evanston as a way to make extra money from the stagecoach passengers. They say the boys would get bored drinking in here and bet each other who could shoot the flies. Most of the ceilings out here during that first mining boom would have been flat yucca stock tortilla ceilings, where you'd have dirt over the yucca stock and you'd line the ceilings with linen. Right. The tin that's on these buildings didn't start arriving until after the railroad arrived during that second mining boom. Then the tin would have went up on these buildings almost overnight. Yeah. This is a typical size saloon for the area. You know, movies always make them look a lot bigger than this. We certainly did have bigger saloons than this here, but this is kind of a typical one. Now, the Roxy J, which was next door, was the nicest saloon here. The Roxy J was lit with 21 oil lamps, had a mahogany bar that was brought in from St. Louis via freight wagon, mirror backing behind the bar, and a couple of pool tables. Very nice for the time. Just your crude little bar. It was originally constructed in 1859, and John Evanston was sent out to reopen this stage station in 1865. And when John arrived out here, you know, to reopen this building, this room here was the whole building. Wow. This one room. And then during the first mining boom, John had that saloon added onto the building. And he added the front dining room on to accommodate the more stagecoach traffic. By 1970, though, this room was in really bad shape. The back wall had all but collapsed, and the ceiling was all rotted out. Jana Lou got some of her friends together, and they redid the back section of the building and redid the ceiling. If you look up at the ceiling, it is a yucca stock tortilla ceiling, exactly like it originally had.
But you can tell it's new.
Yes.
But it's cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Cool. Well, you know, I don't know, new, that's already 50 years ago now, but it's not the original. 30, and then I've heard as low as 5 to 10. So I don't honestly know the answer to how many people were hung in here. So much history's been lost, and we've been trying to get as much history as we can, but, you know, the farther we get in time, the less and less people that know the stories.
Exactly,
and let's face it, newspapers weren't even really out here during this time because there was nothing else around out here during this time. Yeah. But we do for sure know who the last two guests of honor were, and they were Sandy King and Russian Bill Tenenborn. And these gentlemen were both hung in 1881. Russian Bill had arrived out here with a hunting party, and without going into his full personality and all the details of him, Russian Bill was working as a claims reporter in the mine south of here. And he had a miner show up, some miners show up here accusing him of robbing them out of their mining claim. If your job was the claims reporter and you're robbing people out of mining claims, probably not very good for your health. No. The local militia here got together and decided there was some truth to the matter and decided they were going to hang him for this. Sandy King had arrived with the first mining boom, and like Curly Bill Brocious, he was hired by the mining companies to help protect their interests, and simply stayed around after the mining companies no longer needed his services. Now, Sandy didn't do just one thing that was bad enough to get himself hung. It was an accumulation of things with Sandy. Sandy had been a thorn in society for several years, and the morning before he was hung, he went over to the general merchandise and purchased himself a silk handkerchief. And in doing so, the clerk found it rather amusing that the tough cowboy was buying himself this silk handkerchief, so he's poking fun at him a little bit. Sandy, being the type of gentleman he was, didn't take very kindly to be made fun of, so he thought he would teach the clerk a lesson. When the clerk went to hand him the handkerchiefs, Sandy grabbed him by the arm and shot one of his fingers off. That was a bad mistake by Sandy because the clerk was very well liked. Sandy, however, had been a thorn in society for several years. The local militia got together and they'd already decided they were going to hang Russian Bill. They got to thinking about all the bad things that Sandy had done and figured we might as well just hang Sandy at the same time. That way we only have to dig the one hole.
There you go.
The digging out here isn't easy, and the